Back to Squawk Box, the JLens 500 Jewish Advocacy ETF. It is the first of its kind. Is set to debut on the New York Stock Exchange today. Its ticker symbol is TOV, and after the Hebrew word tov, meaning good, the fund has already raised more than $100 million in seed capital. And joining us right now, Jonathan Greenblatt, CEO and National Director of ADL. We should point out that the ADL Foundation is one of the organizations supporting the fund. How did this come about? What is this?
Well, look, yes, we've talked on the show before about the rise of anti-Semitism, and we've seen it poison campuses, and we've seen it poison cultural spaces, and we're increasingly seeing the sort of BDS hooligans, the same ones who are seizing buildings at Barnard, trying to target corporations. Last year in 2024, we saw about 75 companies targeted by these BDS activists. So that can mean anti-Israel shareholder resolutions. That can mean staging actions at shareholder meetings, literally doing die-ins or things like that. That can actually mean actions inside the companies. And I'm talking about big public equities like Amazon, Google, Chevron, HP, Intel, and more. And so we felt like at ADL, we've done a lot of stakeholder advocacy over the years. It's time to get into the shareholder advocacy
What's
business.
a die-in? I've never even heard of that.
Where these activists literally lie in front on the ground as if they were dead, right, to protest what they perceive as, quote unquote, you know, Israel's policies.
So what companies would be incorporated into this ETF? How would they be chosen, and how would they be put in or taken out?
Sure. So look, this is giving you exposure to large cap public equities. I mean, we're basically buying the S&P with a focus on companies who we think are, you know, aligning with our values. So in that case, I'm talking about companies who are, you know, doing the right thing on Israel, pushing back on BDS, and aligning with sort of tikkun olam type values. This isn't a typical negative screen ETF. There are a couple stocks.
So who's not in? If it's the S&P, who's off?
Sure.
Not
So we're not including tobacco stocks like Altria, Philip Morris. We're not including ConocoPhillips, which is.
But not because they're anti-Semitic.
No, just because in terms of Jewish values, we think, again, tobacco just doesn't align with where ADL is.
Okay.
But I think
Conoco because of Venezuela. Right?
Venezuela and the oil sands and such. But the worst.
What?
They're one of the worst kind of companies in terms of emissions.
You mean dirty.
Yeah.
But what about other fossil fuel companies?
No, we're not excluding fossil fuel companies. But I will note General Mills is one that we're excluding.
Okay.
Why? Because General Mills was pressured by BDS activists and pulled their Pillsbury division out of Israel altogether.
Okay.
They felt like it was better not to have to deal with, you know, the hooligans masking themselves. Just get out of Israel.
Can I ask, you're doing this at a time in the country where there is a massive pushback on ESG, on DEI. You have almost every company in the country practically removing any kind of DEI program. You have folks like Robbie Starbuck out there who are going after companies for doing anything except trying to make profits. That is the sort of central tenet of the way this market has moved. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. It just is.
Yeah.
How do you think about that in this context?
Well, that's exactly why we're doing this. Not because we want to be part of sort of the DEI industrial complex, but because we believe the activists who come out of it and, again, try to hijack the shareholder process are doing a disservice not only to the companies themselves, but to our community. And there have been faith-based ETFs for many years. This is the first time the Jewish community is getting into that game to preserve our interests and to make sure we have a seat at the table. It's just not something we've done before.
So when you look at what Robbie Starbuck is doing, for example, in the context of what you're doing, do you say what he's doing is right or wrong?
Look, I'm not going to comment on what Robbie's doing, but I think about, you know, another guest I've been on with Vivek.
Well, no, because what's interesting is he's pressuring companies on one side, right? Yeah. By the way, he has some views that aren't just about profits and other things, right? And you are now pressuring.
But DEI originally was pressuring companies in the first place. So NASDAQ couldn't have a. Tell me you're not excluding defense contractors.
We're not excluding defense contractors.
What about gun makers?
We're not excluding those companies. I mean, look,
I'm watching.
You should. But the fact, because defense companies have a role to play.
Duh. For Israel, maybe.
And for all of us.
Exactly.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying to you, and what makes this complicated, is if the defense companies decided that they were going to no longer support Israel, right, you would say that they are doing the wrong thing, I imagine.
Well, we would,
and they would say that they're doing it in the Robbie Starbuck version of for whatever the benefit of the shareholders. Meaning there is going to be times where people are going to do things for the quote-unquote shareholders that may be out of step with what you would want as a religious ETF.
I wouldn't call it a religious ETF, but what I would simply say is that we want to make sure that shareholder interests are preserved and protected. Israel is one of the most dynamic economies on the planet. It's a member of the OECD. It's got the second largest high-tech sector in the world. It's a place that is a font of innovation. So whether it's defense companies or CPG firms or any kind of business, there's a clear business case to be made for being there. And I think we got to keep in mind, Andrew, it is, again, the BDS hooligans who are coming off these campuses, who are trying to hijack so many of our public spaces. And that's what we're trying to push back against.
But that's the thing I'm not sure I understand. How is this particular instrument going to push back on that?
Well, look, so for example, Amazon in 2023 had one of these crazy anti-BDS resolutions that was proposed, and it wasn't well tracked. Nobody was monitoring it. It got 34% share of the vote when it came up. Now, it failed, but 34% is a lot. So when ADL learned about this, we mobilized. We started educating the institutional investors. We started educating the advocacy groups. Okay. And it went down to 17%.
I'm going to make this super complicated for you.
Sure.
Super complicated.
Sure.
Okay, you ready?
It's always complicated.
No, this one's now I'm going to make it really complicated. So I don't know if you remember, about 2 or 3 years ago, Amazon had this video that they were selling.
Uh-huh.
You came on the air. We talked about it.
I was here talking about it.
You remember that video? And that video, or film, I should say, effectively...
It was Kyrie's favorite movie of the year.
Right, and it suggested that the Holocaust didn't exist, if I remember.
Among other things.
Among other things, okay. So given the seat that you sit in, at that time, you now will have a role in some way with this ETF. Would you say, okay, we are we're taking Amazon off of our list?
I think it's a great question. Look, Amazon is a large, diversified corporation, right? So one movie being recommended by sort of a bigoted basketball player doesn't necessarily represent the broad span of their business.
Right, but you've also come on this program and you have said that Meta, you have gone after so many companies in America.
Doubt.
By the way, Elon Musk, you have gone after Elon Musk very publicly. Would you say that there have been effectively allegations that you have made at certain points along the lines where you have been, at minimum, frustrated with his views about what was going on either in Israel or Jews or things that you thought that he was being anti-Semitic about. Would you say, okay, we're taking Tesla out of the index?
So look,
do you see what I'm saying? This is why it's complicated.
I hear you. So we want to look at the actions of the businesses themselves, not the particular personality of a CEO or a founder per se. So, Elon's entitled to his opinion. That doesn't change the fact that whether it's Tesla or it's SpaceX or it's X, I guess only Tesla's public. I mean, that would be a company.
Okay, you're wearing Adidas shoes right now.
I am wearing Adidas shoes.
Okay, you're wearing Adidas Sambas right now, and you recall back in the day where you boycotted, protested Adidas in the context of its deal with Kanye.
Correct.
Kanye is still walking around with T-shirts on X, by the way, with swastikas on them.
That's right.
What are you going to do about that, mister? I mean, this is what... No, I say that's why
but that's a good example.
So difficult.
It's complicated. But again, as a stakeholder,
if you're a stakeholder, I would think you should be out there saying this is untenable. And any business leader that's allowing the swastikas on the thing, unless you're saying you're now in the free speech category, but other people have obviously debated you on that for years.
For years, we went to Adidas on the issue of Kanye as a stakeholder and advocated and pushed, and they did the right thing. That's why I'm wearing my Sambas today. But on the other hand, if they didn't, if they got it wrong,
you'd remove them from the...
We'd have to look hard at that. We'd have to look hard at that.
It's an interesting conversation.
It's going to be exciting. I mean, I think, look, it's the first time it's happened. Like you said, we have $100 million already kind of raised from institutional investors, and I'm very optimistic.
Do you see making changes where you'd sell something and buy it back? Is it, I mean,
absolutely, it could be.
As leverage?
It could be. I mean, we're not dogmatic here. We're doing this to be pragmatic. And look, this is a passive ETF. I mean, again, we're buying the S&P, but we will be passionate in our advocacy. Right. Because that's what we do at ADL.
Okay, last question. Sure. If you remember, one of the things, and this was an Elon Musk claim, effectively that the
This is like a greatest hits we're going over.
No, but one of the claims that he's made is that the ADL is effectively bribing and boycotting.
I mean, there was no truth to that.
American companies. And at minimum pressuring companies. I imagine there are people who are going to hear about this ETF today who, hopefully they're not anti-Semitic on the other side of this, but who might say to themselves, you know what, this is just another tool for the ADL to pressure American companies to do things that they want. True or false?
Wrong question.
Wrong question.
In a moment when anti-Semitism has surged to historic levels, when the Jewish community...
You know where I stand. I'm Jewish.
I know you do. But Jewish or not Jewish, if a company said to me it's another tool to pressure us, I would say it's another tool to protect our community. And we've got to take it seriously. And look, here's the deal. Right. In a moment when, again, we're seeing this extraordinary intensification, we've got to innovate. These other NGOs that keep doing the same old thing and expecting different results, it's crazy. So we will innovate, we will adapt, and we will experiment. And maybe it won't work, and we'll see. But we're going to give it a shot, and I'm optimistic about its prospects.
Jonathan Greenblatt, it's very interesting stuff. Thank you for coming to this point.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.